I ran into Melvin Gordon of the Chargers at the airport over the weekend. Super, super nice kid. And what I loved about Melvin wants about $12 million a year. Chargers offering about $10 million. And we talked back and forth about value. But Melvin Gordon understood what's happening to the running back situation. He's like, listen, we got good running backs. We have a great roster. It's a hard cap league, unlike the NBA, which has a lot of exceptions on their cap, or baseball, which has no salary cap. And you have to use great discretion in the NFL when it comes to player salaries. If you have more than 2 or 3 big stars like Atlanta, then you're going to have a bad O-line and bad corners. That's what I worry about with Dallas. They've got money now, but once you load up DeMarcus Lawrence, Dak, Amari, Zeke, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, you're going to lack depth. You're going to have units that are one injury away from chaos. With that, Brian Westbrook comes in, 9 years in the NFL, 8 with the Eagles, 2-time Pro Bowler, is joining us via the Cowherd Global Satellite Network. Brian, you know this league. It's a hard cap. It's tough. Running back is that position now in the NFL that analytics say, be careful what you pay it long term. You got 3 great young talents, people thinking Amari, Zeke, and Dak. Would you pay all of them?
Mm-hmm. You know, I think that there's a couple things going on. When you talk about Amari, I think that he can wait. I think that he's continued to have to prove himself there in Dallas. He's done a good job so far, but I think he can wait. I think Dak, for what he's trying to do, he's trying to get north of $30 million. So he still has a ways to prove himself as a passer that can win without the help of a run game. And hopefully, I think, to his credit, that he will never have to prove that. I think the truth is that the best case scenario for the Dallas Cowboys is to have all 3 of them. And the most important piece to me, obviously, the NFL feels a little bit different at this point, is the running back position, especially in Dallas. That offense has been built around Zeke's ability to get through holes, to carry the ball and get 1,400 yards a year and then catch the ball out of the backfield. When you think about last year, he had 322 rushes. He had 77 receptions. That's impressive for a running back to basically have 400 touches. To me, you can't devalue that. You can't take that away from the team. They built an offensive line that's very, very strong, and it's built to run block. You need Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield to make sure that everything, we're talking about Dak and Amari Cooper, continue to excel and get the contract that they're looking for.
Ryan Clark had said, when you pay Antonio Brown, watch out, he'll change. I do worry about Zeke's lack of maturity. His dad called him out going into the pros. We've seen judicial issues off the field. Is there any concern if you, Brian, were a Cowboy general manager, that I'm going to pay this young kid and he's going to go off the tracks?
Well, I mean, I think you have to address it, and I'm sure that Jerry and Stephen Jones have. I mean, they've addressed all of these things. There's no doubt in my mind. That's something that Ezekiel Elliott has to mature. That's the big thing about, young men. You're talking about 25, 26, 27-year-old young men. They have to mature. They have to experience things. He's not any different than a lot of young men. He needs to wake up and say, listen, I can't do these things because it's hurting me when it comes down to the contract negotiations. So for me, that's a bit of a concern, but I'm having a conversation way before we pay him that, listen, if these things happen, then we're going to take some of the money back. And somehow you have to give him some incentive to do the right thing, to act properly. And I think he will fall in line with the maturity as a young man.
Have you ever been in a locker room where you had an Antonio Brown, where he's unbelievably gifted, but he can suck the oxygen out of the room? We've seen through the years wide receivers. There are guys that are a little higher maintenance. You've been in a lot of locker rooms, Brian, with a lot of players. Yeah. When you're in a locker room and one of your best players is what you would call noisy and high maintenance, does it affect Sunday performances? Does it affect the overall team?
Well, I think, the guy that I was with, T.O., and he's similar to Antonio Brown because you watch the practice here, is that he took our level up a notch. And you're talking about 2 different scenarios. Antonio Brown is going to a team that hasn't been very good in a very long time. The T.O. came to an Eagles team that we went to the NFC Championship games without T.O. We obviously were able to go to the Super Bowl with him. And so it's a little bit different. When T.O. came to our team, he was able to elevate our play. He was able to elevate our practice. He was able to take our swagger to a whole different level because he's that talented. Antonio Brown is just the same amount of talent there. You know, of course, he has done this for over 6 years, over 100 receptions, big-time touchdowns. The stats absolutely say that he can get it done. The one thing that you mentioned earlier, and I know Joy may disagree, is that the noise, that's the thing that it was very, very hard in our second year with T.O. because he had a problem with Donovan. He had a problem with Andy Reid to get over. We weren't able to get over the noise because at the same time as that we had basically the same exact team as we had the year before, we couldn't get over doing the crunches and push-ups in the driveway. We couldn't get over the arguments with the head coach. As a team, it's my belief that 53 guys have to be headed in the same direction, and you can't have a locker room divided. Now, unfortunately for Antonio Brown is that he's the best player on this football team. When he walked back into that locker room in that field, everyone embraced him. Everybody welcomed him back in because they understand how bad they need him. It was a little bit different for us. I think Antonio Brown is a special, special player. To me, what he did in the last couple of days was quiet down the noise. He didn't come back saying, rah, rah, this, that, and the other. He came back saying, I'm going to find the helmet. Now I'm ready to work. John Gruden knows what he's going to get out of him when it comes to practice. Same thing that you would get from T.O. as well.
Brian, we're up against the clock. Good talking to you. Good luck this year. And your Eagles, by the way, which I have getting to the Super Bowl out of the NFC. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.